Right. I have no great degree of confidence whatsoever that Tyson Fury wins the Alexander Usyk rematch. The first fight, it was competitive. It was very competitive for the first 6 to 7 rounds. The first 3, I think we can see that apart from maybe the third, Usyk came out strong and to a lot of people won those first 3 rounds. Fury started picking up after that, but the issue is with that is that the reason Fury was doing so well in those rounds, and I don't see many people mentioning this, is because he was working at 110%. He was working his absolute arse off and got success, obviously. But think of it in terms of that Frazier Clark-Fabio Wardley fight. I think Fury is very, very good at disguising how tired he is. Because after that patch of success, and where he started to wane a little bit, and he started getting hit more and more and more, I think it was genuinely, I think he got tired. I think Fury got tired, and Usyk was able to capitalize on that. Now, what does that mean for the rematch? Well, I think Fury, it's so easy to say it, because everyone says it about Usyk when going into an Usyk fight. So you got to put it on him. You got to do what Derek Chisora did. You can't just let him get into a rhythm. You can't let him outbox you. You have to fight the fight at your pace, basically. And again, that's the only real... Obviously, I'm not a fucking boxing trainer or anything like that. I don't know the true ins and outs. We'll never know what it's like to actually be in there with Alexander Usyk. But that's the only thing that comes to mind. Fury does have power, and he proved that in how he buzzed Usyk in their first fight. But I think he does just have to do what everyone says. He's got to impose himself. He has to stand his ground and take the fight to Usyk, because it was a strange thing in that fight where obviously Fury was on the back foot pretty much the whole fight. All the talk about knocking him out and sticking on him, it sort of went to the wayside again. It's like that, and the issue is with someone like Tyson Fury, there's no real excuse of showing Usyk too much respect, because I don't think he did either. I think that was the game plan. There's obviously other things in... I'll say it now. I think Fury has a lot more to improve upon than Usyk does. Because Usyk, he basically just fought the fight that he always fights. Apart from, obviously, that he started off faster, which he doesn't usually do. He usually warms into the fight. But again, it was those late rounds again. He properly came into the fight, turned up the gears, and stuck it on Fury. And it was like that. It was definitely the what I presume. I don't know if it was a nose break or just his nose started bleeding. That definitely perturbed Fury in some fashion, because I think that's what basically led to him getting clocked. But in the rematch, a lot of people are saying they see it playing out in the exact same way. They just don't. They've written Fury off now. They don't think he's able to handle Usyk. I'm just not sure though. I find it so strange especially in the heavyweight division, when people write off certain fighters that have gigantic power. It's like the Anthony Joshua Dubois fight that's most likely going to happen at Wembley in the near future. People saying, "Oh, Dubois, he's not at the level of AJ," and I agree, but he probably isn't at the level of AJ right now. But to write him off and say, "Oh, Anthony Joshua's just going to spark him immediately," it's like, yeah, there's levels, but Dubois got a massive punch on him. A massive punch. And just imagine, it's like people can't imagine scenarios in fights. It's like, I can imagine people's minds now, the casual fan, and admittedly some proper fans of boxing, looking at the Dubois fight like it's going to be Ngannou all over again. Dubois is going to come charging in. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he's going to get clocked by Anthony Joshua. But again, that's just not how it works with the heavyweight division. When you've got these guys with massive amounts of power, if one punch misses from one fighter and the other one gets you, there's a large chance that you're pretty much fucked, basically. That's how that Dubois-Joshua fight seems to me. But coming back to the Fury-Usyk rematch, I still cannot get that. It's exactly the same with Anthony Joshua when he fought Usyk. I cannot get the possibility out of my mind that if you line up the right shot, if you manage to clock Usyk, he's not invincible. He can go down. So I don't get the idea that someone like Fury, who without a doubt has given Usyk his hardest fight in his pro career, doesn't have a chance. It's insane. I don't understand writing off Tyson Fury in the way that some people have as well. Trying to say that all of his accomplishments are now nothing because he lost to the best heavyweight in the world. So all of a sudden his accomplishments against a far sprier, a far more active Wilder mean nothing because Zhang and Parker have now beaten a Wilder that is no longer, without a doubt, no longer at the same level as he was when he fought Fury. I think the issue is there's far, far too much fanboyism within the boxing community, and people don't make their points that clear. It's either one side or the other. This guy wins or this guy loses. It's never like, oh, it could be a close fight. But in the Fury-Usyk rematch, I could see, it'd be stupid to say that you can't see Usyk winning at this point, because he did win. He won convincingly. I don't think there's an argument. He won convincingly enough where I don't even think there was argument of a draw in Fury's favour, admittedly. There's more for Fury to improve in his game than Usyk. I feel like Usyk, he's going to fight the same fight that he fought the first fight round. He did it with Joshua, and I don't care what people say about the second fight with Joshua or how many rounds he won and stuff like that. Joshua did significantly better in the second fight. Significantly better. That, to me, gives me a little bit of confidence that if someone like Joshua can cotton on to something, have more success against Usyk in their rematch, I feel like Fury can do the same. When you have 12 rounds with a guy, and obviously it works in reverse. When you have 12 rounds with a guy and you're going in with them again, you know more about them as a fighter. It's harder with Fury, admittedly, because he is just that unconventional. I know people bring up the whole Vladimir Klitschko rematch and how he started figuring Fury out towards the end of the fight, and that might be why he didn't want the rematch. I'm not so sure about that, but definitely Klitschko was starting to figure Fury out towards the end of their fight. There's certain things with Fury. It's that corner, for one, that everybody's brought up. The corner was ridiculous. That kind of thing, you just look at it, it doesn't work for Fury. I don't think it'll work for Fury. That sort of chaos worked for some people. It's like, example, look at Daniel Dubois' corner. Dubois looking out the ring at his dad. He's probably looking at like Frank Warren and shit. And Don Charles tapping him on the chest. Are you listening to me? Are you listening? He's saying, yeah. That kind of chaos, I guess, works for someone like Daniel Dubois. But it didn't look like it worked for Fury. Fury looked like he was going into the rounds like lost. After that big buzz in the 9th round, I was looking at Fury in his corner. It's just like, you're not getting anything off these guys. You're not getting anything off Sugar Hill, nothing off John Fury, getting nothing off Andy Lee. It just smacked of a guy who was concerned about the state he's in, and then is going into those final few rounds just by himself. He has no sort of game plan. He just has to literally hold on. And you know, he did have some success in the final few rounds. I think he won one of them. But yeah, the corner has to get sorted out. His game plan, he has to do what no one really except Derek Chisora has done in the heavyweight division, and that's just go guns blazing. I'm not sure if he can do it. Maybe there's something in camp and training which just makes him think, I'm going to get tired or I'm going to get clocked. Usyk proved as well, despite getting in more clinches than I've ever seen Usyk get into, which proves Fury was having success with the clinch. One, I really don't think it had an effect on Usyk. He was tired. Don't get me wrong, Usyk was more tired than I think I've ever seen him. But I don't think it was really having an effect, and there were many instances as well where Usyk was just able to slip out of that clinch. It seems like he's very good at getting out of that clinch as well. So I'm not sure about that. But I just feel Fury has to stick it on him. He has to. Other factors are... I felt like Fury got careless. If you look at the shot that clocked Fury, properly clocked him, and I mean, he was getting clocked pretty much all night long. He was getting hit with big shots. He was just taking them, but none were as big as the one in the ninth round. And you see what led up to that. It was a ridiculous mistake from Tyson Fury. He was leading with these pity-patty punches that wouldn't have done anything anyway. And you just look at that thinking, what are you doing? They were slow. They had no power in them. What was he doing? And that leads me to think he was relying so much on catching the public and the judge's eye that he was getting reckless and he was getting careless. I thought it was ridiculous when he was getting hit with legitimate shots and started showboating afterwards and going like, oh, it doesn't hurt me. It's like, that does not matter. It doesn't matter at all. And I mean, Usyk, for one, he is guilty of that. He's definitely guilty of that. He was getting, I think there was about, from what I saw at least, there was one proper low blow in that fight, and it was fine. He moved right on past it. But there was some legitimate crushing body shots getting landed by Fury. And Usyk always does it. He always looks to the ref. He always complains. But anyway, coming back to the ultimate point of if Fury can do it and how he can go about winning the rematch. I think a more offensive game plan, most definitely, than the one he had last time. He spent the whole fight going around the ring, letting Usyk just pressure him. I feel like you have to stand your ground in that kind of situation. And it's not easy, obviously, but you just got the sense that Fury was just letting him walk onto it. And it wasn't even anything like having Usyk walk onto anything. It was just Fury backing up the entire time. And Jesus, that's another thing Fury really needs to work on. Although I'm not sure he can at this stage in his career. His defense was awful. I mean, Usyk is an accurate puncher anyway, but this supposed mystique around Tyson Fury being this elusive, putting on a defensive masterclass is bullshit. You don't get dropped by Wilder that many times. You don't get floored by Steve Cunningham like that. You don't get hit with the massive shot that Usyk hit him with if you're a defensive genius. Have you ever seen someone like Dimitri Bivol be clocked in that kind of fashion? I don't know where that's come from, but definitely at this stage in his career, Fury's defense is terrible. Really bad. I mean, he was getting hit with so much stuff, and he just didn't seem to have a way to defend from it. There was hardly any head movement. His guard was all over the place. He didn't seem to know where the shots were coming from, which obviously, not taking away everything from Usyk, that's because of Usyk's immense skill as well. But yeah, do I think Tyson Fury can win? Yes, I do. I don't like how the boxing community finds it blasphemy that you say, like, an elite fighter in Fury is just, write him off entirely. He's got no chance. I don't think that's fair. Usyk is most definitely the favourite this time round. And he's even more the favourite in my eyes because there's something special about having a fighter placed in front of you that Fury would have been training for. Usyk, in many, many parts of that fight, many rounds, was fighting the exact same fight that he always does. And Fury couldn't deal with it. He didn't know what to do. So sort the corner out. Different kind of game plan. I don't like the whole back foot defensive thing against Usyk. You have to stand your ground if you're looking for a chance to win. It's kind of like that whole Dubois in their fight looked clueless most of the time. I don't think he's the same fighter that he is now. I think he's been revitalized ever since the Jarrell Miller and Hrgovic wins. But I think if you had Dubois in there with Usyk again, it would be the same story, in my opinion. I feel like that low blow controversy, I didn't think it was a low blow, personally. It's definitely debatable. But, you know, I think if it was a different ref that night, perhaps that could have been that could have been Usyk done. I just feel like you need that kind of Derek Chisora approach, basically, and it's not gonna be, that can't be easy for someone like Fury because of his proportions, and he'll probably be debating again if he should use his range and things like that. And I'm sure that was part of the game plan of the first one, use your range. He just looked aimless at parts in the fight. It looked like he didn't really know what to do. It didn't seem like he wanted to really commit to anything. So I feel like Fury's really got to swing for the fences at some points in the rematch, hopefully. Because I think we've proven after that fight that Usyk's come up against another opponent who he's just utterly outboxed. It was a different level. I think Usyk would outbox Fury every time. So it's the corner, the game plan, and also the camp in some ways. Because on the run up to the fight, we obviously had tons of stories coming out about the atmosphere in Fury's camp not being great. Apparently the first camp was going bad, really bad. You obviously had the cut, which people still debate the authenticity of. And admittedly, you never know about the weight as well. Because you have one side of the argument who are going, oh, Fury looks so fit, he's in the best condition that he's ever been, which is bollocks, by the way. That's not true. But also, when you lose that amount of weight in the rather quick time that Fury actually did it, I can't imagine he would have been accustomed to it. You know, appearances can be deceiving, and Fury looked in better shape, yeah, but again, he lost all that weight in such a short amount of time. I can't imagine he would have been comfortable with it. It wouldn't have been all that comfortable with it. So if Fury manages to sustain that weight, I think we'll see a Fury in the next fight that is a lot more lively. I think he'll know his body better after fighting a 12-round fight in that way, with that weight. It seemed from the shots that Usyk got clocked from, Fury still has power, still definitely has power at that weight. So I feel like the weight could play a factor. I feel like if he gets accustomed to it, there could be more success. But at the end of the day, Usyk still, you still look at the fight and you see Usyk winning. He had a good patch in the middle rounds, Fury, but yeah, it was decisive. He won it pretty comfortably. Well, if someone thinks that Fury should have won or it should have been a draw, Usyk was far more comfortable in a very competitive fight than Fury, to say the least. So those are my thoughts. I'm sure with the mentality and the way I've said all of this, and especially as a Brit, someone like me would be labelled a Fury fanboy just by speculating how Tyson Fury could win the rematch. Not that I do think he will win. You know, I think it's important to have those kinds of discussions, because there's nothing to talk about with Usyk, really. He had a good performance, a similar performance to how he always fights. So what are you going to say about Usyk? Oh, he's got to come in heavier? No. He's got to change his game plan? No, because the game plan won. So it's all about Fury and how he can change things in his fight and his camp to get the win the second time round, if he can. So